to get a better understanding on the story and how the environment is going to be affected, I'm now joined by a senior researcher at the Benchmarks Foundation, Mr. David van Wyk. Good to have you with us this afternoon, Mr. van Wyk. Now, you have done a lot of research and have written and spoken quite elaborately about amazamazama, illegal mining, and actually looking at that community as contributors to the economy, or possible contributors to the economy in some instances. I'm quite interested to find out what your views are regarding what's happening in Ladysmith right now, this so-called diamond rush.
Well, I think first and foremost we will have to wait for the team from the Department of Minerals and Energy and the Council for Geosciences to determine whether these are in fact diamonds. It is not a timber-like area, so if there are diamonds, they might be there as alluvial deposits that might have come down from the highlands of Lesotho in ancient rivers and so on, and deposited there. If there are diamonds, of course, they might also be just crystals, amethyst or quartz crystals or any other crystals for that matter. Now, according to the Diamond Act of 1986, as amended in 2005, if you pick up a rough diamond, you have to hand it in at the nearest police station, because the Act clearly states that if you are found with a rough diamond in your possession and you don't have a prospecting license or a mining license or a trader's license, then you are committing a crime. It's illegal for you to possess a diamond. Apart from that, the Minerals and Petroleum Resource Development Act stipulates that anything found under the land belongs to the state. All minerals found under the land belong to the state. And the state then rents this out, the right to mine to corporations and so on who do have mining licenses, prospecting licenses to do so. This came about as a result of the control that Cecil John Rhodes had over diamond mining when he became Prime Minister of the Cape, and he was also the chairperson of the Beers. And he made sure to pass laws that ordinary people can't actually participate in diamond mining, and that this would be restricted to corporations and monopolies and so on. One can understand to some extent why this is the case, because diamonds are actually quite abundant. There's enough diamonds on the planet to give every person on the planet a cup full of diamonds. The only reason why they're so valuable is because of the high degree of monopolistic control, especially by the Beers and the Kimberley process over the production of diamonds and so on, which makes Belgium and Britain the biggest exporters of rough diamonds in the world, even though they don't have any diamond mines. And India, produces about 3-4 times as much, or processes about 3-4 times as much diamonds as South Africa, even though they also don't have any diamond mines, and they import a large number of cutters and so on. So what it means for this community basically is that you are going to have, apart from the DMRE descending on the community, trying to restore order in the community, you will have all kinds of crime syndicates and so on descending on them as well. And if that community will have to hand over the diamonds to the state or face criminal prosecution for illegal mining, and the community will then be rapidly deprived of their land as corporations move in to take over that land to actually do the mining. And this is the sad tale of the South African mining industry, is that ordinary people and communities are mostly excluded. Now, if you look at the mining charter says that the community can be 5% owners or shareholders in such a venture. But the politicians sitting in Cape Town who've never been to Kwahlathi can actually become a 27% shareholder according to the BEE legislation, even though they've never set foot in the town, by becoming the BEE partner of some mining company or the other that actually gets the mining right to actually operate it. So I don't see much hope for the community, except that they will become cheap labor if there is mining in the area. They will certainly lose their land, and their culture and tradition and so on will be severely disrupted by the mining process.
I mean, it certainly sounds like a high level of injustice there from the matrix and the structure and how everything is being constructed. But let's look at this land, Mr. van Wyk. What are we likely to be finding there? the reports are that various stones have been found. What are the likelihoods of these stones actually been?
Well, I think that they are probably crystals of some sort or the other, amethyst or quartz crystals or crystals of some kind or the other. But like I say, there is a possibility that if they are alluvial, in other words, if they were deposited by an ancient river millions of years ago in the area, the river is no longer there, but this might be the flow of the riverbed that was there that deposited these things, say, from the highlands of Lesotho, where certainly there are many diamonds. In that instance, these might actually be diamonds, but they won't be very sustainable. They will be very quickly mined out if they're alluvial, and the people who do the mining will follow that riverbed until its end. But we don't know yet. Like I say, we'll have to wait for the Council for Geoscience, and we'll have to wait for the DMRE to actually clarify whether, in fact, these are diamonds.
And based on the reports that we've heard, there are experts that are making their way out to the area to examine the land and also examine the type of minerals and stones that are being found by the community. Now, we are hearing that the community says that they're not going to be giving up any of the stones that they've collected, and some have actually gone on to sell those stones. Just talk to us about the market that exists for these type of stones outside the conventional, legitimate markets.
Well, I think that, as was shown in southeastern Zimbabwe, when diamonds were discovered in that particular area as well, people flocked there from everywhere. Teachers left there, pastors behind, lawyers, everyone just flocked into the area to go and do mining, go and do alluvial mining in the area. And it created absolute chaos. And, of course, crime syndicates and so on moved in as well into the area. And, of course, violence and so on might also result. In terms of COVID-19, it might become a problematic area as well. This afternoon, we'll be having a meeting with the National Association of Artisanal Miners to see if we can intervene with that community to educate them about how to form themselves into cooperatives and then to register to get the necessary prospecting and mining licenses as a community, so as to get into the legal, formal process that they could benefit from. But, it's very problematic because this whole process it will take 3 or 4 months before they are registered. And unfortunately, everyone is already rushing into the area. And if they are diamonds indeed, then the big corporations and so on who are already registered will no doubt rush into the Department of Mineral Resources to preempt any community participation.
And I guess that's where the perspective of the Department of Mineral Resources needs to show its true face. Now that the minerals have been discovered there or allegedly discovered there, the community wants to benefit. How can the community actually be part owners in this process and not be relegated to cheap labor, as you're saying, Mr. Van Beek? But thank you very much for our discussion today. I really look forward to the outcomes of the meeting that you are going to be having, and also just a way forward for this community if indeed they are sitting on land that is going to potentially change their entire communities and change their futures as well. Thank you very much, sir. That's Mr. David Van Beek there.